Yeah, I do really feel that I am a global woman by birth because I was lucky enough to be born into two cultures and at a young age was going back and forth. I just felt that that's just part of who I am.
Welcome to a new episode of Most Memorable Journeys. Today's guest is kind of a colleague. She's also a travel partner. We have recently been in Dubai together. She has attended a conference that I organized here in Cyprus, and she is a fellow Global Woman Director. I am the Global Woman Director in Cyprus, and Micaela Passeri is the Global Woman Director in Los Angeles. But she's not talking to me from Los Angeles. She's talking to me from Florence. And I think by now you'll be confused enough. We'll let her in. Welcome to Most Memorable Journeys, Micaela Passeri.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. And I love how you say my name because you say it right. Yay.
Yes, because first of all, I speak a little Italian. Actually, my Italian is quite good. And second, I have heard you saying it so many times and I love the way you say it.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
So you grew up bilingual. Your Italian and your English are equal, right?
Yes, they are. Absolutely. I always say I'm bicultural because I have deep roots in my Italian culture, but I also have deep roots in the American culture.
And I always believe that learning a language, even if it's not your, second mother tongue like it is in your case, but adopting a country, when you move to another country, it's very important to learn the language because, as you exactly say, it makes you bicultural because the language equals culture. You understand the country a lot more when you actually understand the. But let's start from the beginning. You were born in Italy, right?
Yes, I was.
And however, to an American mom.
My dad was Italian and my mom is American. So that's how I got my biculturality, through my parents. And I was lucky enough to start traveling at a very, very young age. I believe my first plane ride was under the age of 1 because I was born in Florence and my mom and my dad obviously wanted to show me off in America and brought me to see my grandma and grandpa and all of my aunts and uncles over there. So.
Yeah. And where were they? Were they in California where you live now, or were they somewhere else?
Yes, they were in Northern California, right outside, about 20, 30 minutes outside of San Francisco, in the East Bay, it's called, the East Bay.
Right. And did you go there every year? Like normally, did your mom take you every year or did you just visit once in a while?
So we would actually spend a summer at the beaches here in Tuscany. And then the following summer, we'd go to California to visit grandma and grandpa. So we really, and I say we because I have a younger sister. So it was my sister and I. And obviously my dad and my mom. So we had really that privilege of being able to spend our summers in two different countries, alternating. And that's how I really felt from a young age that I wanted to go to America to go to college. My sister, on the other hand, didn't care. But because of that back and forth and because of the experience that I had living for the summer in America. And actually, now that I remember, in the 80s, I think from 82 to 84, my parents, we all moved there for 2 years because my dad tried to do a business in California. And then we came back. But yeah, I had this experience of America. So I was curious enough to go and live there for college. My sister, not so much. My sister's very traditional Italian and she still lives in Italy. And I now live in LA, even though in this present moment I am in Florence.
It's funny, isn't it, how different actually siblings can be? Like you're saying, your sister had no interest in the US and you decided to move there. But I have another question that's yes. A question that's my because of myself. Did your mom always feel comfortable in Italy? Did she adapt well?
I'm going to say yes and no. On one side, yes. But, my father passed away when I was 20. Like I had literally just moved to America to go to college. And that year he passed away. And so without he was the rock of the family. He was the provider, but he was also kind of like one of those young at heart kind of spirits. So the adventures and the things that we did, it was because of my dad. So after he passed, she had a hard time staying because the friends were all his. Yes, she had become friends with them and the wives, but it's different, right? Once he left, she had this really interesting kind of feeling of being rejected. Then my dad had a business. Obviously, when he passed, that ended. So she had to find a teaching job. She was not happy at that. So no, I'm going to say yes and no, because it was harder for her after he passed. It was easier when he was alive, and she could just kind of follow him, whatever he did.
She did move back to the US, didn't she?
Yeah, after she tried staying in Florence for my sister, because my sister at the time was a minor and she was still going to school. So she stayed long enough for my sister to graduate high school, but then she moved back. Yeah.
All right. And you were studying in the US and you used to go back and forth.
Yes. I used to go back and forth even before studying, but yes, I've always gone back and forth. If I could divide myself in two, split myself in two and live here and there at the same time, I would.
You would. I think I would do the same. I would be half in Switzerland and half in Cyprus. I think this is the beauty and the two sides of
the curse.
Because on the one hand, it's beautiful and it's we're very blessed to have the best of both worlds. But on the other hand, you always miss one of them.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely. You said it perfectly. And I've been now in Florence for a few months now because I'm following a construction process here, project. I have been really torn. I've been going back and forth. Like, I love being here, and it reminds me of my younger years. But then I'm missing California. I'm missing America, and it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I'm grateful. So don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely grateful. I wouldn't give it back or change it for the world. But it is a balancing act. It's really balancing one's emotions when you go through that nostalgia feeling or that desire of being in the other country. It's just managing your emotions and really understanding that, okay, I'm here now and let me enjoy the moment here. Let me enjoy the culture, the food, experience. And then when I go over there, I do the same over there. And it's those moments by moments, right, that we experience.
Yeah, but I know exactly how you feel. And talking about that construction project, I think it's important to tell to the people who are listening to us on this podcast that soon took a little longer that you were planning, you were hoping that it would take, but soon you will be able to rent a place in Florence renovated by Micaela, right?
Yes, absolutely. I had an apartment that was quite large, and it was the design of it was linear, so I was able to split it in half, and now I'm going to have two, and they're going to be rented. They're actually, one of them is already rented to a Spanish company, and then the other one is going to be on Airbnb and Booking and all that for people to enjoy.
And it will be your place when you go and stay. Will that be your
Yeah. So it will be my home here in Florence. That when I'm not here, I'll put on Airbnb and.
Fantastic. So
I'll be able to share my home with people.
We'll put your contacts and whatever necessary in the show notes so people can get in touch with you. But we're ahead of our time here. I want to go back to I studied your LinkedIn profile. You studied in San Francisco.
I did. I went to San Francisco State. That's the college I went to. Or university.
How long did you stay in San Francisco?
I lived in the Bay Area for 10 years. So I moved to California in 1991, and I moved to then Southern California in 2001-ish. Yeah. When was 9/11? Was it 2001? Yeah. So I was in Northern California from 91 to 2001. And then I moved to Los Angeles in 2001. and I'm still there. So I've been
Right.
in LA for
So
21
what made you decide to move from San Francisco to LA?
Ooh. Well, I was engaged to a boy, and we had been together for 5.5 years, and we broke up. So it was a really painful breakup because I literally thought I was going to marry this man, and I couldn't stay in the. I needed to change my environment. I wanted to just change my environment because everything reminded me of him. So my mom's best friend is a movie producer in LA, and she was looking for somebody to be a co-producer, coordinating producer for her shows with Discovery Channel. And so I said, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to be in the entertainment business. I'm not feeling, I was down. Let me just move to LA, indefinitely just to try this out and see what happens. And that's what I did. I actually worked with her for a couple of years on several different shows. And then I liked LA so much that I stayed. That's how I got to LA.
I've been to LA many times because I was a tour guide, but also, the stuff you read and the stuff you see. I always read or know that LA is full of aspiring actors and actresses. Were you ever an aspiring actress?
Oh my gosh, you're pulling out all of my secrets.
Well, that's
Nobody
what I
knows
do
all this
here.
stuff. Nobody knows all these things. So yes, I was. I actually was in a movie. I was an extra in a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. If you guys watch Catch Me If You Can, the one where he plays this pilot from Pan Am and he swindles all these people out of money. I was in the party where he's whining and dining, and I guess he's getting engaged with the girl. I'm in that. I'm in a few scenes there.
Oh my God. There is definitely stuff coming out here that we didn't know about. That's
Yes.
amazing. That's amazing. But you did then sort of enter the world of personal development, because I mean, one of the reasons why we know each other and why we work together is because of personal development, women empowerment. How did that come about? What made you get into the world of personal development?
Well, so first I need to kind of backtrack a little bit. So when I was living in Northern California, I had my own business. And it was actually pretty successful. I had a handbag manufacturing company. I was making leather handbags in Florence and I was importing them to California. I had a shop in the Bay Area and also wholesaling the handbags to many stores. And I was doing well enough that I could move to LA and let the shop run on its own. So when I moved to LA, I really did it to kind of like one of the bucket list, right? To check off a box on the bucket list, but still keeping my day job, right? Which was the store. Then what happened? The lira. So I started this business when the lira still existed. So I'm sure you remember that,
Of
right?
course, yes.
So the lira was the exchange, the currency in Italy. So when the lira went away and the euro came in, I don't know if I can say this on a podcast, but the S hit the fan. Let's
Yes,
just
you
say
can say that in my podcast.
the shit hit the fan. So what happened was that because I was importing, the exchange rate was eating up all of my profit margin. So I had to come to terms with the fact that my baby, that was my first business. It was I started it in my early 20s, and it was my first business on my own. And it was my baby. And so I had to really make a very hard decision and shut it down because I was working to make no money because all of my profit was going into the exchange rate. So when I closed my handbag business, I said, okay, wait a minute, what am I going to do here? I went through my own introspective journey, said, what the hell am I going to do? And I started just thinking, it's like, okay, well, what do I know how to do? What am I good at? I know how to manufacture. I know how to produce. I know how to sell. So I just need to find something else to do that with. And I remember for 30 days, every day when I walked the dog, I would ask myself, what is my purpose? What is it that I love? What am I meant to do? What's this next chapter of mine? using my gifts and what I'm good at doing. And what came out was one day I was walking on the Third Street Promenade in Santa Monica, which is this kind of like shoppy area in Santa Monica in California. And my daughter was 4, and I saw this beautiful, typical blonde California babe, and she would have this shirt on that said something like, I don't know exactly what it said, but it was something like, I'm prettier than you, so I'll get all the boys, something like that. I stopped and I said, wait a minute, why would a beautiful girl like her, have to sport such a negative message? And I wouldn't want my daughter to wear that or read that. Somebody, I said to myself, somebody needs to create empowering messages, put empowering messages on these t-shirts. And literally like a download, like a lightning bolt, I heard inside saying, you do it. And that's how I shifted from handbags to inspirational clothes. So I started putting positive messages on clothes for women. My kind of the thing that I was known for was the I love who I am t-shirt. And I did that for a bit. And then from there, my clients would basically buy my clothes because they loved the messages. And then they'd come back and they would say, Micaela, I love the shirt that I got from you, but it's still sitting on my counter. I haven't been able to wear it. And I'd say, well, wait a minute. Why? Like, what do you mean? Why can't you wear it? She's like, because I feel like a fraud. I want to love myself, but I don't love myself. I realize that I don't love myself. So if I wear it, I feel like I'm a fraud. And so we'd start these really deep introspective conversations. And I'd start basically coaching people. I'd start coaching them, naturally. I wasn't charging. I was just supporting my clients in the moment. And that's when then another light bulb came up and said, wait a minute, this is why I created this line. I created it not only for my own cathartic and evolution, right? Because creating that line really was my way to get to love, to return to love after the heartbreak of the passing of my father, after the heartbreak of my daughter's father leaving me in a not very good way, and being a single mom, and just really all those hardships. It was really my own journey back to love. I felt that it was that next evolution, right? So it helped me love myself. It was helping my clients start that conversation of loving themselves. So then it was a natural segue to then, okay, I can help people do this, help them on this introspective journey and finding themselves, understanding themselves, and loving themselves deeper. And from there, getting into a place of really satisfaction, fulfillment, abundance, and all of that. And so that's really how I got to being emotional intelligence coach that I am now. I do, both business and personal. I combine the two, but that's how I got to doing what I do now.
How amazing. And this is, my friends, you see, this podcast is called Most Memorable Journeys. And most memorable journeys are not always journeys on a plane. They are life journeys. And this is definitely a very amazing journey that you went through. And I do know that you love to travel, but this journey that got you there got you a lot of traveling afterwards, because I do know how you joined the Global Woman Club, but I do know that you are one of the directors who club hops a lot because you like traveling.
I do. Yeah, I do really feel that I am a global woman by birth, because I was lucky enough to be born into 2 cultures, and at a young age was going back and forth. I just felt that that's just part of who I am. So traveling is really in me. And when I pivoted to the coaching business that I now still run, and I found Global Woman, I really thought, okay, this is going to be my opportunity to really even merge my cultures, my background even more. And then from there, who knows what would come of it. My initial desire was really to use Global Woman as a way to come back home, right? To come back and connect back on a business level with Italy. But what came of it was so much more, right? It came with amazing friendships and connections all over the world, clients, and an amazing community that I am lucky enough to lead alongside women like you and our founder, Mirella Sula, and all of our other directors. I really feel privileged and thankful and grateful to be a part of this community. But I do feel that this is who I am. So traveling is just part of what I do. I'll tell you a funny story. I was dating a guy a few years back. He was really into me. I still didn't know if I was into him. And when I came to, obviously, I came to Europe for the summer, as I usually do. And he didn't want to come. And he said, "Oh, no, that's your thing. You do that. Traveling is not for me." And in the moment, I'm like, okay, I made my decision. This is not the guy for me, because this is part of who I am. So if you don't like traveling and you don't want to explore the world and understand that the world is how we grow and evolve and share ourselves, and we allow other people to share themselves, then you're not for me. So I came back from my trip and I broke up with him. I dumped him. So that was that story.
Well, I think that's a very clear sign. I mean, when you are somebody who likes to travel and then you find out that the person that you're planning to spend the rest of your life with doesn't like it, that's not a good start, is it?
No,
But you were, when you're saying that you were hoping to get back home, we both are in this Global Woman Club, and it's a lot of culture stuff. However, do you agree with me that at the end of the day, all those women that we come across, we're all the same? We all want to just be happy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I am leading my club in LA, and even when I share with other people, I always say that one of the things that I love about Global Woman is that no matter where I go, whether I'm in Switzerland, London, Paris, Dubai, Singapore, LA, wherever, I meet the same woman. And I meet a woman that reflects me and I reflect her. And it's, the desire of adventure, the desire of success, the desire of love, the desire of feeling satisfied and ultimately happy with what we're doing and where we're going in life. So it's a great place to come together and then share
It
ourselves.
definitely is. And I think it's funny how all these women that get together, they have this common, I think you could call it, joie de vivre, joy of loving life and having fun. Because, on the one hand, it's a business. We all have to buy our bread. But on the other hand,
absolutely. And look, you can design it the way that you want. You and I, right? We're lucky enough that we've had life experiences and families that have brought us into the biculturality. But even if you don't have that, you can still design your life in this way. If traveling is what you love, if exploring the world and communing with people from different cultures and understanding them better and sharing yourself is what you want to do, put that into your plans. There's a way that you can absolutely do it. People say, "Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky to have the life that you want." I'm blessed. I'm grateful, but I've designed it this way. I've created the life that I want, because I know a lot of people. In fact, I'm going to give you an example. There was in my high school here in Florence, where I grew up, when I went to school here, there was another girl that was just like me. Her mom was American and her dad was Italian. So she's just like me, right? But she lives here. She's never gone to America. She does, but very rarely. She doesn't go back and forth. She's planted her roots firmly in Italy, in Florence. She doesn't do that. So you don't have to have that connection to travel the world and to make the world your oyster. You can choose the way you want. I chose to use my biculturality in the way that I have because it's fun and I love it and I enjoy it. But somebody else, like my friend, but like this girl, I'm not going to name names. She did it a different way. My sister, same thing. Yeah. My sister's 3 years younger. She doesn't live in America. She lives in Florence. She's chosen something different. It's all up to you. If you want, you can create the life of your own choosing, and it's whatever you want it to be.
That is very true, but I think it's also very important, exactly the way you're saying it. You choose it the way you want it to be. You mustn't choose it the way other people do. Just because somebody else does it, you don't have. We don't have. It's important to be us. And it's important. And, this famous place that we always talk about, the famous comfort zone. The comfort zone is the place where our dreams go to die. So sometimes people live in this comfort zone and they are not happy. If you are happy in your comfort zone, it's fine. But sometimes the comfort zone is an ugly place.
It is. It is. It's a place that kind of binds you. It ties you down, and then it's hard to get out of.
Yeah.
It's hard to, you really have to connect with your courage and with a little bit of your daredevil side, of your risk-taking side, because coming out of your comfort zone does take risks.
It shakes a little bit the moment you come out, but then usually it's a smooth ride. You do something else apart from being a global woman director. You are an emotional intelligence coach. Am I saying that right?
Yes, I'm an emotional intelligence business strategist. Yes.
You work with frequencies, and you tell us a little bit, give us just a small example for people to understand who are not in this business.
Yeah. So if we understand from science that we live in a vibratory world, we know that from Einstein and from a lot of the scientific work that has been brought forth up until today. We live in a vibratory world. We're made up of atoms that are just all energy. Energy is all around us. So if we start from that perspective and that understanding, then we can understand that we also are frequency and vibrations. And the way that we are that is through our emotions. Our emotions give us a certain frequency. So if we're holding on to negative emotions, low vibrating emotions, then that is the place that we're going to attract from, right? If you've seen The Secret, and if you've known of the law of attraction, you understand that like attracts like. So if I'm vibrating at a lower frequency, I'm going to attract something that's similar to that frequency, right? And opposite, if I commit myself and I practice in staying connected to higher frequencies, so love, happiness, joy, right, all of that, satisfaction, fulfillment, all of those lovely emotions, then my frequency is higher. And at that higher frequency, then I'm going to attract, right, that which is similar to that higher frequency. So low frequencies attract things that aren't very nice. High frequencies attract those that are nice. So when I work with people, I'm really helping them understand their internal makeup, their emotionality. What are those emotions that, unbeknownst to them, are running their life, or running their decisions, or running their business, or running their relationships, right? If there's something present in your life that you are not happy with right now, I guarantee you there is an emotional root cause that is stuck in the subconscious that's having you behave and feel and think in a certain way that brings you to that result. And so that's where I start from with people. I work with having them understand themselves deeper, then identify what those limiting conversations, those negative conversations, and disempowering conversations are. We create new neural pathways, new conversations with it, that become tools that they can use to really stay connected to that higher frequency. And then from there, if they come to me for business, right, to really understand how to use emotional intelligence as a tool to maximize their income ability, their income making ability, then I apply business strategy. I have 2 degrees in business. I have a business degree and I have an international business degree. So I just use my degrees and experience as an entrepreneur and having had several businesses myself to really help people monetize through strategy and implementation. So that's basically what I do.
Fantastic. And as you very clearly said, some of those trapped emotions and some of those limiting beliefs are in our subconscious mind, and they were downloaded in our early years. And very often we don't even know that they exist. And it's important to sometimes find them. And, you were in Cyprus and we had Martina Kwan. I loved her metaphor, the way she said it. Sometimes we have to lift the rock and see what's under there, because usually all that shit, as we are using this word for the second time, is somewhere hidden, and it needs to come out, because if we find it, we can change it.
Yeah, and using the metaphor of shit, right? If we have a rock and a pile of shit, it's still going to smell like shit. So if we want to really understand how to clear our shit, we got to lift the rock and we got to clean the pile of shit.
Yeah, that's
exactly. Throw it down the toilet.
Well, I didn't think
that's
the conversation would go.
That's the best metaphor to understand how we hold stuff in our subconscious. And it needs to be cleaned up.
Absolutely. But it's it's one of the basic human needs, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Right. So I think that this is a tool that everybody should really try out. It's something that, because we all have some stuff hidden somewhere. And I think it's fantastic to actually know that we have, that this exists. This can help us. And personally, I have done a lot of work on myself, and it really, really has helped me. And, sometimes it's a small investment that can make a big, big difference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you work with the subconscious as well. So you know how important it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You said it right. It's an investment. It's an investment in yourself. And had I not invested in myself so many years ago, when I was starting to go through my own personal development journey, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. So I'm so grateful for all of the different coaches and seminars and books and trainings that I have spent my money on, my hard-earned money on. And I've spent a lot of it, thousands and thousands, because I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. And I would do it again. I would spend it all over again.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think all that training money that we pay, like we go and train to help people, but I think the person that we actually help most is ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I always feel with every client that I work with, there is something inside of me that heals as well or that changes as well. So yeah. This has become very serious. Let's get back, because we're kind of fine. We're nearly done. But
I know, back to the travel.
Just getting back to the travel a little bit. What's on Micaela Passeri's travel plan? What's happening next?
Well, I am going back to the US on the 21st of this month. And then I'll be right back here in Florence, middle of January. Then I'm going to go to London for the Global Woman Conference that's happening on the 20th of January. So I'll be in London for that. And then I'm going to go back to America, and I'm going to stay put for a little bit, and then come back to Italy. I'm going to be going back and forth to Italy quite a bit next year. So
is there any place, do you have any dream? Is there a place that you think of sometimes you would like to go maybe someday, but you haven't been yet? Is there
yes. And that is on my list next year. I have always wanted to go to Greece. I actually feel, and this could start a whole other conversation, I feel that I had another lifetime in Greece. And I've always wanted to go there. I have not made my way there. However, one of our Global Women members in Los Angeles spends a lot of time in Greece. And so I was planning with her to go visit her next summer. So yeah, Greece. I want to go to Greece, and I want to feel how I feel if I feel any, resonance or any like deja vu. That's what I want to do.
There is a lot about Greece. I mean, Greece is a fascinating place because it's just so different, from coming to Athens and then going on the islands and the north and the south. My daughter is picking olives in Peloponnese at the moment, in Kalamata, making olive oil. Greece is a fascinating country. I will want to know a lot more. I think that's going to be another podcast episode once you have experienced Greece.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, no. Yeah. Now, just before we finish, you were saying, do you believe so? Do we have past lives? What's that story? Because, it's a debate. Do you remember?
It is a debate. I'm not an expert, so I'm going to speak just from my own experience. I do believe that we have past lives. I I mean, where can I even start? I've done constellation work several times, and a couple of my past lives have come through there. One of them being and I know because I had such a visceral reaction. I bawled my eyes out. I cried. So I knew, I knew that it was real. But one of my lifetimes that came through that experience, I was hung as a demonstration to not speak out. So I was hung to dry and to be a demonstration for people. If you speak out, this is what's going to happen to you. And interestingly enough, I had gone to have this constellation work done because I had been feeling there was something in me that wanted to come out, but I couldn't speak it. I couldn't speak it. I couldn't use my voice. Either there was part of me that was afraid. There was part of me that just was frozen, and I didn't understand why. Because I'm a smart woman, and that's what came out. So I firmly believe there was no way that anybody could have known that was the reason why I was doing that session, and then that past life came out. So yeah, I do. I also had an experience after my father passed away. I was having a panic attack. I suffered from panic attacks after his passing, and one day I literally thought I was having a heart attack. I just felt this amazing, just love energy. This I never felt this before. Just come through me, and I saw the image of my father's face in my mind's eye. Right. I just felt this amazing, amazing love energy come through me to calm me down. And, and I've had a lot of other experiences. So all of these very spiritual experiences that I've had lead me to believe, and I choose to believe, that the soul is infinite, that we never die, and that we just move on to other experiences. And we choose to come back if we want, and maybe not if we don't. But that's what I choose to believe. Yeah, it's all because of lots of things that I've experienced.
Wow, that is.
You?
Well, I believe this. I have the same. I haven't had many. I believe the same thing. There is no. We don't. There. There is no. We don't die. I mean, we do die, but there is no end. Our soul doesn't die. I totally.
The physical dies, but
yes,
not the.
I totally believe the same thing. But I want you to continue doing what you're doing and to continue speaking out for all those women that you're speaking out for. And you're not going to be hung anymore. Isn't that a progress in your life?
I know, it sure is. It sure is. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you that if you knew me in my teens and 20s, I was very shy. I wouldn't speak much because I just couldn't. I was just shy. I was afraid, all of that. But I firmly believe that after that experience, I felt more comfortable in speaking out and saying. So when I see an injustice or when I think that something's not right, I will speak my truth, and I will stand up for the things that I feel are right. And I don't have a qualm about it anymore. I really don't. Fantastic. So I really think that experience helped me to step into my authentic voice, for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah. Micaela Passeri, thank you so much for spending time with me today on Most Memorable Journeys.
Well, thank you for having me. It was so delightful.
If you enjoy my podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. You will find all the information in the show notes.